you do that. So even the very, very edges, when there's barely anything, I can still use my rotary cutter. I put my ruler on the pattern and slide it down until it is just where I want it, and then I can make my cut. And I'll do that with the last piece. Notice I've tried to straighten it up as much as possible before I start moving it, because I wanted to, as much as possible, not move it on the fabric like I just did. But there we go, that easy. So those are some pieces that are done. But what if I get to something such as this? These are some walls. Now, because these are so long, I wanted to use 3 pins on each one, which means that there's a lot of bulk there. And, you know, you can't, it just isn't smart to try to cut that way. So I first cut everything out the way I normally would. The way I just showed you. First that. And once those are done, notice we have this offset right here. So I'm going to come back. And I'm going to cut my fabric with the long piece right here. Now this long piece is cut out except for this center cut. So, and notice that I have them very, very close so that they're touching. So I'm going to take the long piece off, because everything that is left from this piece is actually for the long piece. So when I cut this off, this long piece is this piece. And I like to leave a pin in the pattern, at least one, till I'm done completely and I'm sewing. Now I'm going to move this out of the way. And there we go. Take that off. Here we are. That piece. But you know what? Sometimes you have a lot of these strange, odd pieces that just, how would you do this? Well, I would start with cutting the length right here. So let me move this out of the way. I don't want to cut it again. Here we go. I would cut this length off. And I know it may seem like a lot of waste, and in a way it is, but it allows me to use the pins that I really like, because they hold so much better than those flat head pins. How do I do this? Sometimes, you know, you go the old-fashioned way. Oops. There we go. Take this out of the way. I find that I'm much, much more accurate when I use my rotary than when I use my scissors. So that's one of the reasons that I really want to do this, because these little houses are, ooh, they're finicky. It's hard to deal with them. Okay, now this one, I'm going to trim. I think that other one is probably crooked. I need to look at that carefully. I cut this little edge off. I'm going to see if I need to straighten this. I'm still not happy with this, so I'm going to go back and trim one more time. There we go. I know. If I made a perfect 1/4 inch seam, then maybe it would help to have everything so perfect, but I don't, but at least I can try, right? So now I'm back to cutting. There's a reason that I'm leaving an edge, by the way. This pattern is not quite the right size. Like I said, I've already made a few, and I've had to recut some of the pieces, and so I made a note of it and have added those or reprinted some of the pieces, and they were still the same size, so I just added. There we go. Leave a pin, and we are almost done, but I'm not gonna keep you because I have more of these to cut. I actually have more of them to pin, but I just wanted to show you that it's really very easy if you cut those, if you want to use the pins that you like. It doesn't matter what those pins are. You can use the flatheads, of course. I do occasionally do, but I find that they're thin, and I like these pins. So I decided, you know, I have to figure out a way that I can use these pins with the big head and also use my rotary cutter because it's so much more accurate. So I hope that this is what you were hoping to see. Thank you very much for visiting. Goodbye.